Hello and welcome. My name is James Cowens. I am a member of the chemistry department. I would like to talk to you about study skills. We're going to look at plan, review, study, review. What about your study area? Is it clean? Is it tidy? Is it organised? Is it a quiet space? Have you got your resources? Have you sorted out your subjects, books, notes into various piles or put them on shelves so that you just need to lift them? You don't want to be going hunting for them. If you hunt for them, you'll lose time. What length of time have you decided to study for? Different people use time differently. Some can sit down and study for an hour, others might only be able to study for half an hour, some people might be able to even study for 4 hours. Imagine that. So what to study within the subject you've decided is important also. You will not sit down and decide to study the whole subject. That's not going to happen. So you want to choose discrete areas to study within chemistry. Important that you think about your distractions, folks. Where's your phone? That could be a huge distraction. For boys in particular, your computer games are a huge distraction. So again, put them away, please. That way, you'll be able to concentrate on the studying that you have decided to do. In school, we have given you a number of resources to use. We have our learning outcomes. We have this for every single level within chemistry. You will have revision notes, your PPA booklets, past papers. Supported study is also available in school. We'll talk a bit more about that later, and GLOW. In school, we have some textbooks available. This is the higher books. And we have National 5 books as well, and we've also got a few in-house resources for advanced higher. GLOW is quite a big thing within the chemistry department. We have a lot of resources in GLOW, and you can access the PowerPoints in GLOW as well, so please make sure that you know your user number and your password. Now, I should put a warning up there before I go any further. If you're using your computer, please use it purposefully, that is for studying, right? And you know as well as I do, a flick of a switch, you can switch off your social media and there's something interesting that you're studying appears. That's so you can fool mum and dad, but please don't do that. The only person that's going to lose out is yourself if you're going to do that. In school, we try to support yourself by getting you to do homework. We've got supported study. Teachers are very accessible. You go along, ask them questions at lunchtime or when you have got a minute. We do examination type questions in our assessments on a regular basis. And one of the things that we're starting to get very good at is that we encourage you to track your performance within the subject. And we do this primarily by using internal assessments and getting to use evaluation forms. So, if you're looking at time, how do you then break down your time? So what I'm suggesting is that you review, you study, you review. So what is the time allocation there? Assume that you're studying for 1 hour. What I'm saying is that you should take about 5–10 minutes right at the beginning to look at what you have decided to study. This is a quick process, it shouldn't take up a lot of time. Then study for 45, possibly to 50 minutes. Then we've got 5 minutes of final review, finally leading through to a break. If you imagine your brain as a muscle, you know fine well if you exercise your muscles too much, they need relaxed and time to recover. Your brain also needs a little time to basically chill back and relax. If you're going to go on and study again, this break might be about 15 minutes. Or it could be shorter, but if you have planned to go on and take a short break and study, please make sure that the break is short. When we go and break this down, let's look a little bit at the review now. Right? What is the purpose of the review? It sets in your mind what you are going to study. It refreshes your memory. What could you use? Again, you could use your notes. You could use your learning outcomes, which all of you should have. If you've lost them, they're accessible on GLOW. And you could use Glow itself. So there's a number of things that you could use. Basically anything that you have got with chemistry information on it. And what you want to do is quickly scan over it, and hopefully that starts to refresh your memory. The other thing that's very good, right, that could also be a good starting point for your study is to look at your evaluation sheets that you did for the end of topic tests that you did and mid-topic tests in school. If you've done your prelims by this stage, you will also have an evaluation for your prelim. This would highlight weak areas, and that might be a good area for you to start. Different people study in different ways, and there's a number of different ways that I'm suggesting that you could do. You could make up exam questions, you could do acrostics. Acrostics is something like oil rig, and that's oxidation is the loss of electrons, reduction is the gain of electrons. You could use acronyms, and most of you will be familiar with this one, which is BOFCHN, which highlights the diatomic molecules. So you could make these up for yourself as you go through your studying. Right? Again, emphasising Glow. Why Glow? Because it's got your notes there, it's got the PowerPoints, and you could interact with Glow. It's also got all the past papers in it for each level of the subject again, with answers. Study cards are also good. You could generate the study cards during your study time, or alternatively, if you've already made them up, you could be asking yourself questions, or if you've got a friend or a relative near at hand, they could ask you your questions, and hopefully you've written the answers in the back of the study cards. We have mind maps. A lot of people like these, some people hate them. You need to decide whether you find them useful. Remember not to put too much information on your mind map. The purpose of a mind map is to prompt your memory. It's important that you read, but bear in mind, if I was to ask you, what did you read a couple of days ago, maybe an article from a newspaper, and I was to ask you the detail of that, it would be interesting to see how much you would record. So possibly for chemistry purposes, don't be spending too much time on the reading aspect of your studying. Finally, we do advocate this very strongly, that is past papers. You have past paper questions in your homework booklets, and you have access to past papers. Some people like to purchase a past paper booklet. Please feel free to do so. Other pupils, as I say, study in different ways. Some people love to do things like this. Remember, we're all slightly different. This person here has thought about wallpaper in their room. Okay, check with your parents first, please. But what they've done is put a lot of short notes onto bits of paper, card, and stuck them up. It's a visual memory. When we look at past papers themselves, here's a typical example of a new style of question for chemistry. Other subjects have used this type of question for a while. It's an open-ended question. First thing to notice there is that it is 2 out of 3 marks. What should you do in this case? Have a quick look at the chemistry area. Once you've refreshed your memory about it, you might wish to make a brief list, and then finally write down extensively the 3 points that you're going to cover. At least 3 points. Why? Because the question is out of 3 marks. Another way to look at past papers, these are 2 higher questions, and if you're doing a calculation, folks, I would encourage you to cover up the answers and do the calculation. Calculations in chemistry is something that people quite often find difficult. Best way over this is to remember to practice, and if you like, practice again. Another method I quite like highlighting to pupils is what I call elaboration of a question. If you look at this question here, what we've got is that we have got a number of statements going from A to D. Break down the statements. What is it the statement is saying? So we've got ethene. Ethene's got a formula. It's got a double bond, right? It's telling me that it's made through cracking from a fraction called naphtha. What is cracking? What is naphtha? If we move down, we then talk about petrol can be produced by cracking. Hopefully you're realising that's the wrong answer, so that's the right answer that you're looking at. A little trick they do is look at the statement at the top of the question. It says, is not true. Make sure you read the question. So at this point, you want to explain what petrol actually is. You get it through blending. Naphtha is a fraction of fractional distillation. Aromatic compounds is aromatic compounds are the cyclic form of straight chains, often having a benzene ring, and they can only be produced by reforming. You should know what reforming is. What is the definition of reforming? Again, cycloalkanes is another homologous series. You could give yourself the definition of homologous series. And without going any further, folks, I'm hoping you're getting the gist of what I mean by elaboration. What does it do for you? Hopefully, stick it into your memory banks. And secondly, it's going to allow you to hold on to, in detail, much more information and therefore improve your understanding of the subject. Finally, we want to review again. So we've done our 45 to 50 minutes studying. This is important, folks, because out of all these little steps, the last review is important because it's going to flag up to you what you've not learned. And therefore, it allows you to take it forward to the next study period. Let's go to supported study. Let's ask a teacher. Ask a friend that might understand that area of chemistry a little bit better. Finally, remember to plan. Again, you may not need to spend too much time doing the planning if you've done it really well at the beginning. So each time that you come to study, you might just be deciding what it is you're going to study. That is part of your planning. You would then review, study, review. Thank you for your time.